if they want to. Talk don't bother me. I want the whole wide world to.
And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DeRIenzo.
And I'm Miss Joan Marie Musi.
And our guest, Barbara Jackson. Miss Barbara Jackson, welcome to Let Them Talk. We're proud to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, Barbara has a great story. Back earlier this spring, in the springtime it was, right?
Yes,
In May?
actually it was in March when the incident happened.
Right. In March, Miss Jackson here, Barbara Jackson, was going to pick up her medical marijuana.
Yes.
And a 71-year-old grandmother living in the Bronx.
Great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother. And she was arrested and put through the system and was held in handcuffs for hours before she was released with not so much as an apology. Charges
Unfortunately,
dropped.
she had a great lawyer, Ron Kuby.
Ron Kuby was her lawyer. And we're going to talk more about Barbara Jackson's experience, that horrendous experience she had that day in the Bronx. We're going to talk about what has happened since then, and we're going to discuss and take your calls and discuss medical marijuana and what you think the laws, what should be done, if anything, to change the laws regarding use of marijuana by people who are ill, which is something that's now legal in 12 states, but not New York, where the state legislature here, the home of the Rockefeller drug law, is blocking at every turn any attempt to
and not in the United States.
right, to bring compassion to this issue. So we're going to spend what we're going to do to open up is we're going to play just a few minutes of Barbara Jackson speaking on May 5th of this year in Tompkins Square Park. And after her speech, we're going to go and talk to her for a while, Barbara for a while, and then we're going to take your calls at our number, which is on the screen, 212-757-1538. We are live, and let's
So
listen.
call us up.
Call us up, yes.
Good afternoon. I'm here because of, as you all know, because I was trying to buy some weed.
Don't worry, you won't be the first one.
And I was maybe a block and a half away, and they put me in handcuffs, and I was held for approximately 8 hours. Not in handcuffs, 5 in handcuffs, and the rest in the cell. But to make a long story short, I was arrested. I was handed a DAT, and I needed someone to help me, and I got Ron Kuby. But my problem was that I had colorectal cancer, and I had radiation and chemotherapy. I weighed 99 pounds, and I had 3 grandchildren to care for. So I had no choice but to get what worked for me. I'm here today to say to the younger people, you should not be doing this drug because you're burning up your brain cells. But if you do, you need to stay in school. This is for the younger ones, because you can't get a job if you can't fill out the application. I would like to also say that if they want anything in life, it's all within you. All you have to do is tap into it. Don't drop out, drop in. I think we need to legalize medical marijuana because there are so many people who need it who cannot get it, who have no access to it. And if the doctors could prescribe it, it would be the best thing that ever happened to some of those people. Because you can be very, very, very sick. And this is the only thing that will help you. Okay? I mean, I wasn't doing it to be cute or anything, but here I am. And Mr. Ron Kuby and his co-counsel, Mr. David Pressman, went with me to court. They said they didn't have enough evidence. All I wanted to know was why they didn't give me back my weed.
Well, that was one of the two speeches that Barbara gave when she was at the event on May 5th in Tompkins Square Park, and before that in Washington Square Park. And it gives a little bit about the background. For folks who might have been in Siberia back then, because it was a big story in the media at the
It
time,
was huge.
tell us a little bit about that day, how that day sort of developed.
When I first,
Yes. Became entangled in the system.
okay, I had finished with my shopping and I had managed to save out a little bit of money because I knew that without the marijuana I could not, I don't have any appetite.
It's very difficult
The,
to eat.
right, because one of the lifelong side effects of radiation and chemotherapy is loss of most of your smell, your cells that you smell with, loss of most of your taste buds, and a loss of appetite. And I knew I had 2 weeks to go, and I had to have the marijuana in order to maintain my appetite because the medications that they gave me in the hospital were not effective.
And you're responsible for other people as well, right?
Right. So when I came out of the hospital, I had 3 grandchildren with me. I could not stop. But I also knew that if you can't eat, you cannot, your body has nothing to work with. And I knew that, like, when I was younger, that I could, if I smoked marijuana, that I would be able to eat. So this time, this is something that I have to do because if I don't, I lose weight, and if I lose weight, it's subject to, like, cause the illness to come back. Right. Plus I can't conduct business as I'm supposed to in taking care of my grandchildren. Well, to make a long story short, I had gone up the block, and when I turned the corner, I sort of hesitated, and I said, no, you might as well go ahead and do it. And I went and I picked it up, and I was a block and a half away when I kept hearing somebody call me, and I look around, there's a man saying, may I speak to you? I don't know him, but he's there, and as he's saying, may he speak to me, there's a policewoman coming up. And she asked if I had any drugs on me, and I said, yeah. And she wanted to know where were they, and I said, in my socks. And she held out her hand, and I reached in my sock and I gave her a dime bag, and I thought, well, maybe, you know, they just let me go, but no, she said, like, do you have any more drugs? And I said, yeah, and she said, where are they? And I said, my other sock. And of course, like, they took the drugs, they handcuffed me, and this was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was in handcuffs in the police van for approximately 4 to 5 hours, and with the effect of that, the handcuffs were so tight, I have a nerve in my finger that doesn't function because of that.
Damage.
Right. So I was taken into the precinct, and they held me there for a few hours. Actually, when I got out of the precinct, it was 8:30 at night. So I had been in custody all that time. And I'm just flabbergasted because, like, of course, I didn't expect, at my age, I don't expect to get arrested. And when I got home, I don't know, I'm just upset because now the thing that I feared the most, that's why I think we need to legalize it for people who could use it, because the stigma attached to having to go to get it,
It's going on the street.
right,
someone
yeah,
you
and
don't
you
know.
know you're jeopardizing everything that you have, but sometimes there are things that you have to do that you have to do them. So I knew they gave me a desk appearance ticket, and I knew I was going to have to go to court, and I do not know anything about the legal processes of what's going on. So I had called Mr.
So you have no
Kuby.
history with the legal system, or
Well, no, I mean outside of the usual, like watching TV, okay.
Right.
I called Mr. Kuby, and because I had tried to contact him before, and I was told he was a criminal lawyer. And after I got arrested, I called him, and thank God for me that he took the case. And I went to court on April 30th. And due to some discrepancies in the paperwork, the case was dismissed. And that was the beginning of my whole ordeal. But I went to the Million Marijuana March. Mr. Cusick of High Times and a lot of the other people, Mr. Beale, Dana Beale, a lot of people that I met that it happened so fast I can't
Oh,
even
of
remember
course.
all
It
their
was a
names.
very big day.
Yeah, and I've, you know.
We have a call. Want to
Oh,
try
we
it?
do? Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You're on.
Hello?
Hello?
Guy, you're on the air.
Bitch ass niggas, bitch ass niggas. What you gonna say about bitch ass niggas? Bitch ass niggas, bitch ass niggas. What are you gonna say about bitch?
I didn't get that. I think he was doing a little performance for us.
Yeah, I guess
It
that
was
his
entertainment.
moment in the
Ah,
sun.
okay.
His moment in the sun.
Okay.
Well, welcome back, guys. But in the meantime, let's talk more about what happened as far as community response.
The response in the community was tremendous. It actually was scary because I wasn't used to people just walking up to me and hugging me and, you know, you'd be surprised.
So you got a lot of support.
Right. The
Right.
community support was wonderful. But the one thing that did happen, it shut down what I had to do. And I felt like, you know, the whole world knew what I was doing. I mean, there was no reason to try to cover up, but like I did not want to bring attention to other people because of what I was doing. So since that time, I've lost 11 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And
In other words, it's hard to walk out on the street without everybody knowing who you are and questioning what you're doing walking down the street at that moment.
right, plus if
That's
if-
changed your life, all this publicity.
Right, because now I'm afraid that if I approach anybody, like who knows, they might get arrested again.
Oh, I see. Anybody you talk to.
Right, so therefore I can't go do what I used to do.
It's like you're marked.
Right,
Yeah.
and like I said, that means that I can't eat like I used to, which means that I've lost 11 pounds.
And that's a lot for a person with a small frame like you.
Well, I weighed 124 and I thought I was fat.
I won't say how much I weigh.
You're on.
Hello?
Bitch ass niggas, bitch
Oh,
ass
it's the
Same
same
guy.
person. They weren't done. That's their encore.
Yeah, his encore performance. That's our fans.
Okay.
But let's talk more about any sort of, has this caused any, has a movement grown around your experience, in your experience, like what happened to you? Has our movement been growing now that to sort of use what happened to you as something to publicize the fact that there's sick people who could use this
Right.
medicine?
there's a lot of I don't know how you put it, but there's a lot of support and a lot of people that need to know about the use of marijuana.
People that can
Now,
help.
right, because just like any other drug that you can take, everybody can't tolerate it. It's not, I'm not saying just go out and
Right,
go
everyone
crazy
should do
or
this.
whatever. It should be with your doctor's approval. But unfortunately, in New York, the doctor cannot give approval because it is against the law. That means you have to deal with other means. For example, when you are sick from radiation therapy, and when you are sick from chemotherapy, you're not just sick one way. You're sick throughout your whole body. And what the marijuana did, besides giving me an appetite, it let me relax to whereas it did not make the pain go away, but I was able to deal with the pain in a better frame of mind. I was able to relax a little bit more because I think half of the pain when you in a situation like that is you're already tense
So
because
much
you're
stress,
expecting
yes.
you're expecting that pain, and you know how excruciating that pain's going to be. But with this, you can sort of sit there and you say to yourself, okay, I know this is good, but if I can just relax a little bit, and it just calms you down.
And it sort of increases your tolerance for
Right.
the situation that you're
And
in.
this isn't the first time that it's been used medicinally. I mean, the Native Americans, they've done studies on it. And the people, I think, don't want it legalized are the people who have the big money who if you legalize it, it cuts off their money supply. But for the people who are sick and can't get it, it's devastating because like on a day like it was 90-some degrees, it was super hot. But with a toke, not the whole thing, I could get through the day, and I could imagine like all the people who could just to relieve the stress, because the one thing that the doctors tell you, no stress. If there's no stress, then you have a better chance of surviving. Well, you can't tell me anybody who doesn't have stress in their household.
Hello, you're on.
Hello?
No, guess not. Hello?
Malfunction.
I guess we just lost him. Malfunction. Go ahead. That was very interesting. And
Well, it's true. That kind of stress can exacerbate a disease where you're not feeling well already, and now you've got to worry about
well,
even possibly
everything.
feeling better, right? About your responsibilities, about how your illness is progressing.
Okay, I had the 3 grandchildren.
no, it's not.
Bad sound problem.
There's a sound problem on that, sorry.
Okay.
Trying to get somebody from the community to get a chance to call in, and hopefully we'll get at least one call through before it's over.
Well, I
But
think it's
continue
so
on.
interesting that you got so much support from the community because that shows that people have compassion and don't want to see sick people put into jail.
Plus, there are a lot of there's Cures Not Wars. There's the Medical Marijuana Project.
Yeah.
There is if you go on the internet, there are hundreds and hundreds of organizations that do research, and they do research, and they can prove that it aids in some cases. It aids in most cases. And it's not that you have to have an addiction, and you don't have to smoke it. You can make a tea out of it. You can cook with it or whatever. But it is a relief. It's something. It's something that grows. That's natural. And there are people who've been lobbying for years. We thought we was going to get it passed this year, and Governor Spitzer sounded like he was ready to sign it, but evidently it never got through the whole process. So
Have you met with the governor
no, I did not.
or any of these political figures?
No, I have not met with them, and evidently, you know, they're trying to, I guess they're trying to steer away from it because it is it's explosive topic.
Well, it seems like you'd be the perfect person to testify, for example, at some sort of hearing that the government might hold on this issue. I mean, you are clearly a person who benefited from this and was unfairly treated because of these regulations and laws against it, and are a important and a very well-spoken voice for changing these laws. And you should be, in my opinion, you should be talking to the governor. You should be right now talking to the committee of the state senate or the assembly.
I would love to talk to anyone who would listen to understand how
Right.
important it is that we do have these laws passed.
Governor
and,
Spitzer, I hope you're listening right now.
and how important it is that it gets to the people who need it, to the people who can use it.
And that we be a compassionate society that helps people who are sick, not punishes them for trying to help themselves.
I know, but that's, yeah, I've done this, this is my 8th year as a cancer survivor. And without the marijuana, I would not have survived. I truly believe that. And I can't imagine anyone having any type of drug that would relieve a situation and to have your government say, you can't have that because we've decided it's illegal. Not because it's no good for you, but we've decided it's illegal and children can get it. Well, our children manage to get everything else we get. It doesn't matter what it is. So maybe if you legalize it, maybe we could keep the children out of it.
Right, and educate people.
You know, it wouldn't be so tempting.
Right. As a rebellion, act of rebellion.
Right, you know, I mean, but for the people who are depressed, like sometimes some people respond. Everybody responds differently. For people who are not tolerant of it, I wouldn't suggest it. But then again, that's where your doctor would come in. That's where your doctor would be able to tell you, okay, you can use this.
Have you ever discussed this with any of your doctors?
I discussed. Doctors in New York are not allowed. They have never told me they are not allowed, but they do not discuss it because if they discuss it, that brings it into the therapy.
They're required
right.
possibly to report
and then
it.
they would have to, you know, and if it's illegal, then
Well, that's interesting. Any doctors out there? Are the laws worded in a way that a doctor cannot hold the confidence of a patient who tells them they're using marijuana? Is that true? I'd like a doctor to call with that information.
Well, I don't know if it's a law, but I know that they
I'm putting them on the spot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're putting them on the spot. We'll see if anybody has the nerve to call.
Because I did inquire about the Marinol.
Right.
And the Marinol...
That's the synthetic cancer marijuana, synthetic THC, the
well,
active ingredients of marijuana.
It also has to be regulated in dosages.
Sure.
Because...
It's a pill.
Yeah, but unless you are almost in your 3rd or 4th stages of this illness, they don't want to let you have it.
So it's like a last resort kind of drug for them.
It's supposed to suppress the nausea. It's supposed to suppress like the vomiting or whatever. And I still would stick with the marijuana because you have a control more.
Right, over how much you're ingesting.
You know, I don't know how they do the Marinol, and I know that, like, with the way that I was doing it and the way that other people who have called me since I've been on the news, and they told me about how it helped them. There's a lady over on the east side who had breast cancer, and she said that her and the people in her group, they're in a facility for aftercare, and they had been in a facility for aftercare, and this is when they got home or whenever they got to, whereas it was so unbearable almost that this is what they did to ease
Oh, a group of ladies.
yeah, and I've had people come up in the street and tell me, it's about your pain. You know, it's I'm not saying it's going to cure every living person, but
A lot of people seem to be using it, and you've become sort of a confessor to a lot of people then, to be able to say to you, me too, I do that also.
right,
Yeah.
right. I think the United States government got a report from Jamaica stating all the beneficial advantages of using marijuana, but somehow the report never got to the public forefront,
Right.
so we haven't heard about that
Right.
one.
And there was the infamous Schaefer report of the 1970s, which also was a government-sponsored report. It came back with a positive message about medical marijuana, and it was immediately never heard from again.
they
Right.
Leave sixth. There's been many like that. Very little research is being done. You'll notice the research that comes out is one day the research will be very negative, then the next one will be really positive. So the research, you can't even believe any of the research because it's just totally political. When are we going to actually have real research that isn't politically charged on this issue? I don't know. Except what people are doing
Well, we
in
have a lot of
California.
anecdotal evidence from patients.
What we're
of
hearing right
course,
now.
Right.
Absolutely. And what's been happening in California, Nevada, and Arizona, a dozen states.
And it's interesting that
This is-
something like what happened to Barbara brings people out to be able to find someone they can speak to about it. Seems to be enormous.
Thank you
relief.
very much, Barbara Jackson, for joining us.
Oh,
It was a
thank
great,
you.
and we hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, we really
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we can, the next time we can talk about the cure for addiction.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that
that's a good
sounds
one
great.
too. Ibogaine, that's one of our favorite subjects here on Let Them Talk. And we'll see you next week on Let Them Talk. Thank you very much for joining us. Our webpage is youtube.com/letemtalk, LETEMTALK. And we'll see you next week.
Shows. All right.
All right,
Bye,
take care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.